Well, good afternoon. My name is Alan Mounts. I'm Director for the Evansville Water Sewer Utility, and this is a bit of a unique announcement, but it's twofold. One is we are announcing that we are going to need to close one of the major thoroughfares into downtown next week, starting Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock until potentially the following Tuesday, August the 14th. Both lanes in and out of the city will be closed from Shawnee Drive to Cherry. And for those who aren't familiar with street names, as you come into town, the first stoplight you hit is Shawnee Drive. And as you proceed on into town, when you reach the museum, that is Cherry Street. And that street will be closed. In addition, we will need to close another street, which is more of a side street, called Ingle, between 2nd and 3rd Street. That will be closed at 7 a.m. on Monday, August the 6th. The reasons for the closure is related to a water line assessment that we're doing. The public's heard me talk about water main breaks a lot, and those are very obvious. Whenever you see water coming out of the ground, you know you've got a problem. But what the public may not realize is we have 5 major lines coming out of our filtration plant that are the major arteries that feed all the water mains throughout the city. One of those lines, we've been doing a special pipeline assessment because it's a 36-inch line, and you just can't go down and look and see. So we hired a firm to do an assessment for us. It's basically a tool that kind of travels through the pipe and provides feedback to see if there are any anomalies in there. As a result of that report, we've identified at least 3 locations that indicate that there could be potential issues with the 36-inch line. And the only way we can do further assessments is to dig it up and get down to the line and actually do some additional assessment at that point. Unfortunately, one of those lines cuts right across Riverside Drive behind me, and we'll be crossing both lanes there, and that's the reason for the lane closures. We have to have an outside firm bring a special tool in. The first part of that is prepping and digging the hole and getting it large enough so that the assessment could take place. Once that's completed, then we will restore the hole to where traffic can travel across it again, and then determine, based on the assessment, what actions should be taken, if any, next. And again, there are 3 locations. We're being proactive. We see something there that doesn't look right, and so this is the next step of the evaluation.
Just speak a little louder, Facebook after.
Okay, I will. I'm happy to take questions.
So for people who see this, anytime people see detours and road closures, it might slow down their commute a little bit, but what would be your message to people, as obviously this is something that's very needed?
It's very needed. To put it into context, the line that we are evaluating was put in place almost 65 years ago, and it's not been touched. It is of all the water lines that you can put in place, it's a heavy-duty guy. It's made out of concrete, got steel wrapped around it, and some reinforcement wires. But with anything, as with age, sometimes you see issues cropping up. And so it's a major artery. So if we had that water line break, it would be an emergency situation. It's not something that you go and just pull something off the shelf and plop it in there. It'd be special order. And it feeds a lot of water to many areas around the city. So we're trying to be proactive. If we find that there's an issue there, then we'll figure out a game plan for how we need to come back and do restoration and repair the line if that is required.
And what is the timetable estimate for this?
It's about a week for the Riverside project. We'll close at 8 o'clock on Tuesday morning, so if you're coming into work, might be an incentive to get in before 8 o'clock. And then it'll be closed at Shawnee Drive, which is the first traffic light coming into the city. Be rerouted, detour around that to where you can come back to Cherry or other parts of the city. And we expect at this point that we'll have all the work completed, the road to be open back up again next Tuesday at 5 o'clock. If we're able to do it sooner, we'll send out a tweet or social media or Facebook to indicate that the road is now back open.
How important is it to be proactive in something like this?
What's that?
How important is it to be proactive?
Extremely important. not to point to Owensboro, but just a few weeks back, Owensboro had a pretty catastrophic event. Their lines weren't quite as big as the lines that we have here. It put the city without water for a couple of days. Not that we would be at that order of magnitude. We do have 4 other lines, but still it'd be very disruptive. It's the only way that we have of evaluating these large pipes and be able to be proactive and put a plan together. It's an older pipe, not as old as some of the 100-year-old cast iron pipes that we have, but those are easier to repair. This is a far more complex situation.